Hey everyone, welcome to Learn, Earn, Grow with PG, the place where we simplify tech, supercharge skills, and level up your DevOps journey. I'm PG, your friendly DevOps engineer. Let's jump into today's topic. So, guys, in today's hands on session, we are diving into something really exciting, and I'll be walking you through how to integrate your EKS cluster with Kubernetes Lens IDE. To make things crystal clear, I have got a visual diagram ready that outlines exactly what we are going to do in this particular hands on session. So stick around, follow along, and by the end of the session, I'm damn sure you'll be able to visualize and manage your EKS cluster like a pro using your Lens IDE dashboard. And before we jump into the hands-on, I just want to share why most of the developers or DevOps engineers or cloud engineers or tech support team, they prefer using Kubernetes Lens IDE. Why? Because it is really powerful and it is open source IDE designed to simplify the management and visualization of your Kubernetes cluster. And it was actually designed by Mirantis. So Lens provides a user-friendly graphical interface. I'll show you how this dashboard actually works, and it is colorful to maintain all your Kubernetes components, right from your node missions, pods, deployments, config, secrets. Even you'll be able to manage your Helm chart managements are also possible here, and it has an integrated terminal where you can edit your YAML files and real-time monitoring of the matrices like CPU utilization, memory utilization, and how long the pod has been running and how many times the pod has restarted. So what is the memory utilization of the particular pod or to a particular node mission? All these matrices you'll be able to visualize in a single dashboard. And on top of that, it doesn't mean that it supports or it can be integrated only with a single EKS cluster. You can integrate as many as clusters as you want, but the catch here is like you need to take a premium version, and in the free version you'll be able to integrate almost like 12 clusters, I guess. Okay, so that's the reason why most of the tech people, and especially from DevOps and cloud and tech support team, they prefer using um, Lens IDE in their day-to-day activities, right? So here you have got the pictorial representation. As I said earlier, what are all the things that you need or the prerequisites that you need to start for this hands-on. You need an AWS account, and within AWS account you need to create an EKS cluster. So this cluster may contain some pods or services or deployment, whatever, based on your application requirements. So these components might be running inside it if it is a pre-existing cluster. And to interact with this cluster, here I'm going to use an EC2 instance of type T2 large Amazon Linux. And within the EC2 instance, make sure to install these components: AWS CLI to interact with AWS, and eksctl to run EKS commands, and kubectl, of course, to interact with your Kubernetes cluster, right? And of course, you need your laptop, and make sure you have your personal laptop. Why? Because like if you're using an office laptop, you might not be having an administrative privilege to download Lens exe and install it. So if it is your personal laptop, it goes well and good, right? So download your Lens exe file and install it as usual, right? And that's it. So let's start with our hands-on here. So guys, it's time for us to make our hands dirty. This is the EC2 instance which I'm going to use it for this particular hands-on session. My EC2 instance is already up and running. I have chosen AMI of type Amazon Linux 2023 of instance type T2 large. Why? Because during my POC, I just tried with T2 micro, it didn't go well, and it got hung in the middle. I couldn't make any progress. So that's the reason I have chosen T2 large. And what else? I didn't make any much change in the configuration. Default VPC, default security group, everything is default. And that's it. I have connected this EC2 instance through my Mobextrum. So here is my EC2 instance, which is already up and running. What happened? Let me connect it once again. Okay, fine. Yes. So here it is. Let me switch to root user. Done. Okay. As I have already shown it in the picture, I need these three components to be installed in my EC2 machine, which I've already done. I'll just verify it. One is AWS CLI. Don't worry guys, I'll just share all the codes which I've used for this hands-on. in my GitLab repository. Yes, AWS CLI got installed. Version is 2.27.1, and also my eksctl to interact with my EKS cluster 0.207 is the version, and finally kubectl to interact with my Kubernetes cluster. So 1.29, right? So all these three components are already ready, and even I have updated my new EC2 mission yum update -y, whatever, you guys know that, right? Fine. So all these things are done, and now I need to do AWS configure. I'll give AWS configure. It'll be prompting me to give my AWS access key. Okay, let me pick it from here. So go to your account security credentials. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just create a new access key and a secret key. I'll just bypass this warning. Okay, so this is my secret key. I'll just make a note of it. And access key. Access key you'll be able to fetch it anytime, but secret key it will be visible only for one time. Make sure you're noting it down or downloading the CSV file for further references. Okay, so now I'll just give this as my input. So this is access key, and this is my secret key, and the default region is AP South 1, and the default output format is JSON, and that's it. So I have configured, which means that I'll be able to interact with my AWS account through this EC2 instance. Fine. And I need to create an IAM role so that this particular EC2 instance has a permission to access the EKS cluster. So for that, I'm using this command. Let me show you this command here on the screen. Either you can do this operation in AWS console itself. So just for a difference, what I'm doing here is like I'm using my AWS CLI. So I'm creating an AWS role. The name of the role is Amazon EKS cluster role, and this is the policy I'm attaching it to this particular role. So what is the policy is going to do? It allows me to interact with the EKS cluster. See, allow, and EKS Amazon AWS.com and STS assume role. So let me copy and run this. So you'll create a role and attaching a policy to the role. So 2-in-1 operation. I'll just run this. This I have already ran, so which means like I have this role and policy attached to my EC2 instance. So that's the reason it throws an error stating that the entity already exists, and that's fine. And what I need is, and next I need to attach an additional EKS cluster policy to my existing role. So I'll just run this. One is like EKS cluster policy and EKS service policy to perform my operation. So to make it quite clear, I'll just draw. Should I need to remove this picture? Let me not do that. So what I'll do, so in IAM, right, in IAM I have created a role called EKS. What's the name of the role? Let me verify it. Amazon EKS cluster role. So this is one role I have created, and to this one role I have attached 3 policy. Okay, 3 policy to access the cluster, to list the cluster, to make any kind of operation in the EKS cluster. So I have done or attached 3 policy. See, Amazon EKS cluster policy, Amazon EKS service policy, and also the assume role policy over here. So 3 policies I have attached. Fine. So let me show that in the AWS console also. And if you go to your AWS account, I'll just click on this IAM 6 roles. This is the role which I created for this particular hands-on. Amazon EKS cluster role. And if you click on this, you'll be able to see 3 policies which I have attached. So one is like an assume role, that will be the default policy, followed by EKS cluster policy and EKS service policy. And if you want to know how this policy is going to work or perform, just click on that and see these are all the operation that it is going to do. EC2 will be having an list write tagging option and auto scaling. All these options or permissions, we are attaching it along with the policy to the role. Fine. So now what I need is, I need a cluster, right? I have my EC2 instance, and this EC2 instance has all prerequisites for this particular hands-on session. And I need an EKS cluster, which I really don't have now. I need to create it. You can you can create it via the AWS console, or you can do it via AWS CLI. So for a change, I'm doing it via AWS CLI. This is EKS Elastic Kubernetes Service. Okay, so this is my dashboard. As of now, I don't have any Kubernetes cluster in place. So let me create it. I'm going to do this via the command line. So what I'm going to do, I'm telling my EKS to create a cluster, and the name of the cluster I'm going to give as ClickOps cluster, in which region, AP South 1, and what's going to be the default version of this cluster. Even if you don't give it, just pick the latest version, that is 1.32. And I'm attaching with a node group, and the node group name is ClickOps node group. And what is going to be my node group type? T2 medium. And am I going to set any auto scaling group minimum and maximum node levels? Yes, minimum node is going to be 1 and the maximum node is going to be 2, and that's it. So why I have set a minimum and maximum in the sense, say for example, for this particular cluster, if any application is running and if that application is getting a higher amount of traffic, so it might not be able to handle the traffic, right? So in that case, automatically it should scale up from 1 node machine to 2 node machine. Okay, so this is like an auto scaling. If it is required, you can do it, and if not, you can just skip this. I'll just run this command in my EC2 instance. So what are we actually doing here is, we are interacting with EKS through our EC2 instance. Again, it got hung. Let me try to, what happened? Okay. So if you look here, all configuration with respect to EC2 instance from where I'm going to access my EKS cluster is almost ready. I have my EC2 role in place, and now it's time for us to create our EKS cluster. And before that, let me look over here. So this is the EKS cluster dashboard. Currently I don't have any cluster in active state. So from my EC2 instance, so this is the EC2 instance we have chosen. I'll show you the picture again for clear understanding. Fine. So this is the EC2 instance. So from this EC2 instance, we are going to create a cluster through AWS CLI. So there are two ways that you can create your EKS cluster. One is through AWS console itself, which means like you can directly go to this particular dashboard, click on create, and you can fill all your basic cluster related configurations and what kind of node group and what role are you going to attach and all these things, and just give it. And just for a difference, what I'm doing here is with AWS CLI, and I'm going to give a imperative command with all basic configurations. So I'll just explain you how it actually works. Let me copy this and paste it here. My console is not responding, so let me close it and open it again. And since this morning I'm facing this issue, I don't know why this is happening. Okay, so AWS EKS hyphen list, I don't know what is the exact command. Let me check to list all the existing clusters, and we already knew that we don't have any clusters, so let's check it once again. And to check whether you are logged into the correct AWS account, AWS STS get hyphen caller hyphen identity, and this will give you your account related details. Let's verify it here. And if I click on here, you should be able to see this is Srini's account with 7030. So this is the account I'm using. I'm not performing all these operation as an IAM user, so this is my root account, and that's the reason here it says root. If you are logging in as an IAM user, here you'll be having your IAM role attached to this. Fine. And now to check whether I have any pre-existing cluster running in my AWS account, you can run this command. And here it says we don't have any cluster with a name. This is the name, right? So this is the name we have given, -1. Okay. And also the node groups. So there is no such cluster and related node group. And now let's run our command. See, what am I doing here is with my eksctl, I'm interacting with my EKS cluster. I'm telling my cluster to create a cluster. Okay, and the name of the cluster is going to be ClicKops-cluster-1, and under which region? AP South 1. Anyway, even if you don't mention the version number, it picks the latest version. So the latest version for EKS is 1.32, and this is my node group name, ClicKops-node group-1, and I'm going to have T3 medium as my node missions, and minimum node is 1, and if the traffic increases, it goes or scales up to the maximum of 2. Fine. So with a single command, I'll be able to create my node group as well as my EKS cluster, but it takes like 10 to 15 minutes of time. I'll go to my console. And I'm not going to have you guys for next 15 minutes in the same session. I'll just stop this. Before that, I'll show you how it is getting created. See, now it is getting created, and we should wait for the status to be active and the version number to be 1.32, and support period also should be displayed here. So all these things should come up. For this, we need to wait for another 10 to 15 minutes. It's almost done. Look here. Kubernetes version number that it picks is 1.32, and AWS is providing free support until March 21st of 2026. So like if you are expecting another version of 1.33, so after March 21st of 2026, the extended support will be stopped, and you'll be charged for having your older version of your EKS cluster, and that incurs an extra cost for your application. So in that case, you need to periodically check what is the latest version and how long they are going to support their what to say that how long the AWS is going to provide you support for the existing cluster, and all these things you should keep on monitor it. Okay, so now it's almost ready. So what I'll do, I'll just stop this recording, and once the cluster is ready, we'll start configuring our cluster along with our Kubernetes Lens. Its wait is over. Okay, so if you look here, I could see my cluster is active, and click on the cluster to check other components are ready or not. Go to your compute, and down, scroll a little bit down. You should be able to see the node group which got created, and this node group has a desired capacity of 2 missions. So these are the 2 missions. So T2, T3 medium of 2 types. Okay, so these 2 node missions belongs to the single node group. And if it's required, you can have multiple node groups with different configurations based on the application or what kind of microservices application that needs to use a specific node group. You can use it. Okay, fine. So, and for re-verification, if you come to your EC2 dashboard, and here you could see this 2 node missions that are in initializing state, which got created from the node group configuration. Okay, fine. So this is the mission which we are using to interact with the EKS cluster, and these 2 are the node mission that got created automatically because of the EKS configuration where we have given with node group. Fine. So now what I need to do is, let me get into my EKS cluster. So this is my EKS cluster, right? If you scroll a little bit down, see my EKS cluster with the name ClicKops cluster 1 in region AP South 1 is ready. And now what I need to do is, I'll update my kubeconfig. So I'll update my kube. Okay, I need to delete this. So I'll just, my cluster name is -1. Okay, I'll update the kubeconfig file. See, it got updated and it says it's added. So this is the new context. And if I want to look into the kubeconfig, just copy this path, go to this path, ls, you should be able to see this config file. Okay, so let me cat this config file. So this give you the detailed information about your cluster. I'll scroll down, see AP version v1 cluster, and this is the certificate that it uses. And if you scroll a little bit down, you could see and what are all the roles that it is using, under which region and which account, and name of the cluster and everything. Look here, AP South 1 token and cluster name, everything will be here. This is the older cluster. If you look here, ClickOps-cluster, this is the cluster that we created during our testing. And if you scroll a little bit down, you could see the cluster that we created now, -1. Okay, ClickOps-. So it keeps on like incrementally adding the cluster related details into the same kubeconfig file. So all these things are ready now. And now what I need to do is I need to create an like during my testing, I accidentally created my pod.yaml file inside this .cube. So let me remove this. It shouldn't be there. I'll remove this file. I don't want this. I'll create it in the root directory. Sorry, not in the root directory, under home Ubuntu, which is the path. Okay. Okay. So here, let me create my YAML file, for my pod. So vi pod dot YAML. Pod.yaml. Okay, I'll create an I already have this file. Let me check. A deployment file. Just a minute, I'll try to fetch that. So what I'll do, instead of pod, I'll give it as vi deployment.yaml. I don't know why I'm making so many typos. Deployment.yaml, yes, done. So here, I'll just copy paste this. See, I'm going to create a deployment, which in turn creates a replica with 3 copies of pod. And what is the pod? Nginx is the name of the pod is going to be Nginx, and within that I'll be having my Nginx container running with the latest Nginx image. So this is the simple pod file. Okay, so it's done. And kubectl, if I give get nodes, you should be able to see my node missions. So these are the 2 node missions that got created from the node group that we configured with the T3 medium mission. And let's give kubectl get all. So here it displays, see, as of now I don't have any deployment, no replica set, no pods. So now kubectl apply -f deployment.yaml. See, deployment got created. So what I need to do, kubectl get all, and now it should display everything. Deployment, and this deployment has created a replica set with 3 as the desired capacity. And this 3 replica set will make sure that the given pod runs as a 3 copies. So these 3 are Nginx pods which are running. See, now all are in running state. Everything is ready, and this is the default service that we have. Fine. So now everything is done here. So I have updated everything here in this particular notepad. You can get this notepad in the description section. Else I would have attached the GitLab repository of this particular readme.md file, where you can find all these details, how to create your cluster, node group, everything. Okay, fine. So now it's time for us to integrate our EKS cluster with Lens. Since my machine is not having an elevated permission to run Lens, I'm taking Srini's support, and now he has to share his screen, and before that I need to give him the updated kubeconfig file, right? So let me copy that, and just a minute. So this is the path. Okay, I'll cd. Okay, okay, cat config. Okay, I'll just copy this. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just save it in a separate notepad. I'll send this to Srini. Srini, can you please share your screen? I'll stop sharing my screen now. Srini, I think you can share your screen. I'll make this as a full screen, and meanwhile I'll try to send this to his Gmail so that he can pick it from there. I'm not able to copy this in the chat box. Okay, compose. I don't know why the network is very slow. Srinivasan Sivakum, gmail.com. Okay, to this mail I'm sending this. I'm giving the subject as E. Okay, downloads. Yeah, yes, Sini. I've sent you the file. Please check it. Those who are watching this particular hands-on session, you can watch it in 1.5x fast forward speed. That would be sufficient to finish this video a bit earlier. I have sent. I don't know why it is taking too much of time to get delivered. Yes, it got delivered actually. Yes, Srinivasan Sivakumar@gmail.com. It's there. So now what you guys actually need to do is, like, you can directly update it in your local machine if you are using I'm taking up 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 I'm taking support of Srini here. Okay, so once your cluster is ready, up and running, so you need to place this config file in .kubeconfig folder of AWS. So go to your C drive, users, and under your username, go to your .kube folder and just place it here. If you're not able to find .kube folder, just create it. So this is the configuration that we have. So now after installing your Lens, just open your Lens, and to your left side panel, if you click on local kubeconfigs, there'll be a plus sign. Click on that, add kubeconfig by pasting. It will prompt a window to paste the kubeconfig file. Just copy the whole content. Of course, it contains the kubeconfig of the previous cluster that we created during testing, and just never mind, just copy the whole content, and in this window you paste it. Yes, now add cluster, and now you'll be able to see your cluster. So I think ClickOps-cluster-1 is the cluster name. Can you please little bit expand the left side panel with? This is the cluster, right? ClickOps-cluster-1. So this is the cluster that we created now. So let's wait for this cluster to be connected. Once it is done, you will see a green button that says it got connected. So we need to wait for that. If your machine is pretty much good enough to handle these many loads, you'll be able to do it in a matter of seconds. So since our network is not good and it's taking too much of time today, that's not the cluster, Srini. That's the older one, which we deleted it. -1 is the cluster we created now. No, not this is the cluster. Just click on the cluster list. Like ClickOps-cluster-1 is the cluster name. You are in the wrong window. The second one. Second one. Yeah, that's the cluster. So under free Lens account, you'll be able to add 12 clusters at a stretch. If you want to add more than 12 clusters, you need to take the Enterprise Edition. Why is it taking too much of time to get added? Connection failed because of what? Connection timed out, authentication proxy started, connection timed out. Why? Is anything wrong from my side? Once you add it, automatically it should add. Like now it is taking a bit longer time than expected. Check for the configuration whether it is copied correctly or not. Yes, now it is done. See, green button got enabled, which means it is done. And if you click on the workloads, you should be able to see all the pods, deployment and everything. Click on the workload, click on pods. Now we have just excuses guys, this is because of our system slowness. So you could see like all the pods that we recently created. We created almost like 3 pods, right? So that should be visible here. Yes, see, these are the 3 pods that we created, right? Even if you try to delete any one of the pod, it will be recreated because all these pods are like controlled by the deployment. So deployment will make sure that it will create as many as replicas that we have mentioned in the replication set. So this is deployment and this is replicas. Let's get into the deployment. See, this is the deployment with 3 replicas in which is in running state, and go to your replica set. Yes, we have replica with 3 desired state, and currently 3 pods are running and all these 3 pods are in ready state. Go to your pods file and try to kill any one pod. Like reduce this width of the left side panel, scroll it. Okay, so now let's delete any one pod. Remove. So deployment will recreate the pod. See, again it got recreated. It is created, see, 5 seconds. The rest of the 2 pods are 15 minutes old, and now this pod is 10-second old. And you can see all kind of matrices or descriptions of your Kubernetes object. So under which namespace this particular pod is running. Now it is in default namespace. See, now we have created deployment, replica set and pod in the default namespace. See, now it is running in the default namespace. Go to your pods, go to your pods. On your topmost like left side drop down, you could see default. So that's the namespaces, and if you click on all namespaces, you'll be able to see all the pods running in all namespaces, including your kube system and everything. Okay, so this is the default namespace, and the container, see this green color box exactly opposite to the Nginx, there is a green color box, right? That actually shows how many containers are running within a pod. So we have created 3 pods. Under each pod, we have only 1 container running. If suppose you have 2 to 3 pods, like a sidecar container or multiple containers running in a single pod, you could be able to see 3 green boxes. And if the container is not running properly, that will be in an yellow color. So you'll be able to identify. And also the CPU utilization and memory utilization. As of now, this particular Nginx pod is not utilizing much of the CPU, and that's the reason here we have only 0.000 and memory is 3 MB. And as it got restarted, no, automatically it didn't restart. So that's the reason it says here everything is 0. And what is the I mean, who's controlling all these pods? Replica set, and under which node? As we have already seen during the time of configuration of the cluster, we have given 2 node groups. I mean, like one node group that created 2 nodes, right? So T3 medium, I guess. So out of 3 pods, 2 pods have taken the IP address of machine 135, and 1 pod is running in another machine that is 74. So it's distributing, okay? And whether it is in running state. So all these matrices you'll be able to see it here. And again, if you come back to your left side panel, you'll be able to see a hell lot of options like config maps, networks, storage, namespaces, access control. Even if you want to maintain the Helm chats for your particular deployment, you can do that. So all these colorful dashboards will be available to maintain your clusters. So like this makes your cluster management quite easy, and that's the reason most of the developers or the DevOps engineers who are looking into the cluster, instead of getting into your console and typing kubectl get pods, kubectl get nodes, you'll be able to visualize everything in this single dashboard, right? So this is what we tried to demonstrate in this particular session, and we did it. And in the next session, we'll try to cover up how to manage your self-managed Kubernetes cluster with your Kubernetes Lens IDE. So thank you very much for your support, guys. If you have any queries related to this particular topic, you can always drop your queries or comments in the comment box section. Thank you.